These are people who reinforce their learning by what they see. So if you're telling them something like maybe a history lesson, it helps if you have an image depicting the scene. Maybe you're going to watch a movie. These are also people who love graphic organizers. I have a separate video on that. I had MG3 last time stand up and demonstrate a kinesthetic game for learning spelling words, but she's actually more of a visual learner than a kinesthetic learner. So we were spending all of that time doing the game, and it wasn't helping anything until I took the spelling word, wrote it on a piece of paper, and held it up for her to see. And she would look at it for a couple of seconds, maybe take a picture of it in her mind, and then boom, she could spell it. So things like, flashcards work really well. Even if your child is not a visual learner, visual activities still reinforce abstract information. And so I was horrified when I was teaching my first child the abstract concept of place values. And, I feel like God slipped this into my mind. Maybe it's a memory that he brought back. But I designed something called Decimal Street. And after I started using Matthew C, they actually have a decimal street system, and they've got it down so that they actually made it to scale so that, when you put their place value blocks in each of these sections, you can only fit a certain number of ones and a certain number of tens and a certain number of hundreds. 9 1, no more than 9 ones fit in here. But I didn't have all of that. So I took a big piece of cardboard and I painted it, and I made huge houses like this, and then I took index paper and I wrote numbers on them. Like one index paper would have one number on it. And then we would sit down and talk about numbers live in houses. Every number has a place. What if the house was called Decimal Street? And then I made up a silly story about how, only 9 people can fit in any of these houses, but they really love each other and they don't want to abandon each other. And so when the 10th one shows up, they all move together to the next house. So if it's 10 ones, now they become, a group of 10s living in the 10th house. And, I continue that analogy on down the row of infinite houses on Decimal Street. Great tool for visual learners. But if you don't want to make things up like that, there are things called file folder games. And you just go and get a regular file from the office supply store. This one happens to be laminated. And usually these workbooks have different sections you can cut out, and they tell you where to glue them on the file. And this is called the chicken place game. It's also a place value game. Same type of concept. So instead of the houses, you have the ones, tens, and hundreds shells. And then you have the eggs, and each egg has a number on it. This is the number 931. And then you have chicks with corresponding numbers on them. And then there'd be a chick with a 9, a chick with a 3, a chick with a 1 for the 931 egg. And you would ask your kid, well, which egg does the chick belong in? And then on and on and on.